I'm Michelle Carroll, and welcome to Lexcura Clinical Insights. Today, we're talking about pressure injuries, one of the most frequently litigated conditions in long-term care and one of the most clinically misunderstood. The stage of the wound matters, but the trajectory often tells us far more. If the record shows a stage 2 pressure injury in week 1 and a stage 4 injury in week 4, while the repositioning logs remain blank, we are no longer looking at an isolated wound. We are looking at the progression of harm and the documented or undocumented care surrounding it. In this episode, I'll walk you through the Braden scale, repositioning schedules, wound assessments, measurement documentation, and the evidence that can reveal whether a pressure injury was properly prevented, recognized, and treated. Okay, so here's something that might surprise you. Pressure ulcers, or bed sores, are considered a never event in healthcare. That means they're supposed to be entirely preventable, yet they still happen far too often.
That's such a strong term, never event. It really drives home how serious this is. And yet, we know they're still happening, sometimes with devastating consequences. What makes them so preventable and why do they still occur?
Well, it comes down to care. Pressure ulcers develop when someone stays in one position for too long, cutting off blood flow to certain areas of the body. With proper care, like regular repositioning, good nutrition, and skin assessments, they shouldn't happen. But when those things don't happen, or when systems break down, that's when you see these ulcers develop.
And they're not just a minor inconvenience, right? They can be incredibly painful and even life-threatening in severe cases.
Exactly. They're classified into stages, from stage 1, which is mild, to stage 4, which is severe and can expose muscle or bone. A stage 4 ulcer isn't just a wound. It's a sign that something went seriously wrong in the care process, and that's why they're often used as evidence in negligence cases.
So let's dig into that. How do pressure ulcers become evidence in legal cases?
It's all about the documentation. Pressure ulcers don't appear overnight. They develop over time. The medical records should show when the ulcer was first noticed, what stage it was in, and what interventions were taken. If there are gaps in the records, or if the interventions don't match the severity of the ulcer, that's where questions of negligence come into play.
And it's not just about what's written down, right? It's also about what's missing. If there's no documentation of regular repositioning or wound care, that's a huge red flag.
Exactly, and even when there is documentation, it has to make sense. For example, if the records say a patient was repositioned every 2 hours, but the ulcer still progressed, that raises questions. Was the repositioning actually happening? Was it being done correctly? Were there other factors, like poor nutrition, that weren't addressed?
It's almost like being a detective, piecing together the story from the records. And sometimes the story that emerges is pretty damning.
That's right. And the thing is, pressure ulcers are preventable. They're considered a marker of the quality of care. So, when they happen, especially at the more severe stages, it's often seen as a failure of the system.
And that failure isn't just about the individual caregivers. It's about the policies and procedures, or lack of them, that allowed the ulcer to develop in the first place.
Exactly. It's about the culture of care in the facility. Are staff trained to recognize the early signs of a pressure ulcer? Do they have the resources they need to prevent and treat ulcers? Is there a system in place for regular skin assessments and documentation?
And when those systems break down, the consequences can be devastating, not just for the patient, but for their families, who may feel betrayed by the very people they trusted to care for their loved one.
And that's where the legal system comes in. Families often turn to the courts to hold facilities accountable, and pressure ulcer documentation becomes a key piece of evidence.
Let's talk about that. How do lawyers use pressure ulcer records in negligence cases?
They look for inconsistencies, omissions, and patterns. For example, If the records showed that a patient wasn't repositioned for long periods of time, or if there's no documentation of wound care, that's a red flag. They also look at the trajectory of the ulcer, how quickly it progressed, and whether the interventions were appropriate for the stage it was in.
And it's not just about the written records. Lawyers also bring in medical experts to interpret the documentation and explain what it says, or doesn't say, about the quality of care.
Exactly. And those experts can be pretty damning. They'll point out things like a lack of regular skin assessments, inadequate nutrition, or failure to follow standard protocols for pressure ulcer prevention and treatment.
And those failures can have huge financial consequences for the facility. Pressure ulcer cases often result in large settlements or verdicts, not just because of the physical harm to the patient, but also because of the emotional toll on the family.
And let's not forget the reputational damage. A facility that's known for having a high rate of pressure ulcers, or for being sued over them, can lose the trust of the community.
It's a stark reminder of how important it is to get this right. Pressure ulcers may seem like a small issue, but they're really a symptom of much larger problems in the healthcare system.
And they're preventable. That's the thing. With the right care, the right training, and the right systems in place, pressure ulcers don't have to happen.
And when they do, they leave a trail that tells a story, not just about the patient, but about the care they received or didn't receive.
And that's what makes them such powerful evidence. They're not just wounds, they're a window into the healthcare system, and a reminder of what happens when that system fails.
So, what's the takeaway here? For me, it's that pressure ulcers are more than just a medical issue. They're a measure of accountability, a way to hold the healthcare system to a higher standard.
I couldn't agree more. And for anyone listening who has a loved one in a hospital or long-term care facility, it's a reminder to be vigilant. Ask questions, look at the records, and don't be afraid to speak up if something doesn't seem right.
Because at the end of the day, it's about dignity. Every patient deserves to be treated with care and respect. And pressure ulcers are a sign that something's gone wrong in that equation.
Well said. And on that note, I think we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Pressure injury cases are not understood by looking at the final wound photograph or stage in isolation. The real story is found in the trajectory. The resident's risk at admission, the prevention plan that should have followed, the care that was or was not provided, and the wound's progression over time. The Braden scale identifies the risk. The care plan defines the expected response. The repositioning records help establish whether preventive care occurred. The wound measurements show whether the condition was improving or deteriorating. When those records are incomplete, inconsistent, or absent, those gaps must be examined alongside the resident's clinical decline and the facility's duty to provide appropriate care. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Lexcura Clinical Insights. I'm Michelle Carroll, founder and chief clinical strategist of Lexcura Summit. To learn more, visit lexcurasummit.com. Lexcura Summit, clinical intelligence for better litigation decisions.